Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 6-5 On the Road podcast. Daniel Newman here, principal analyst, founding partner at Futurum Research, joined by my always esteemed co-host, Mr. Patrick Moorhead, here in Santa Clara, California.
I know, it's great to be here, and I have to tell you, we have been on the road a lot, but there's nothing I like better than having great conversations with the most important CEOs of some of the most impactful companies. And with that, I would love to introduce CEO of Plus, David Liu. David, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate you, first of all, giving us a on-the-road studio because, we never really know what we're going to get. And so, coming here to Santa Clara, basically the tech hub of the world, love the chance to sit down, spotlight what's going on. And for Pat and I, we also love getting in front of new, interesting companies, different problems and challenges. And you are in a industry that is very close to one that we spend a lot of time with, but you're solving big problems for transportation and trucking. And hopefully we can get under that a little bit with you today.
Yes, look forward to it.
Yeah, we start, by the way, a little backstory here. We did start the day in getting this incredible demonstration. Daniel and I climbed into one of the the Plus-powered trucks, filled up and got on the highway and went from highway to highway, and it was literally autonomous when it was on the highway. Essentially, cars came in to the lanes, it slowed down, gave right of way. There was a wide load that was ahead. It would creep a little bit to the right. We even hit traffic.
The nudge.
Yeah, no,
nudge.
And we even hit traffic where literally, and it was essentially driving itself in there. And it's one thing to do it in a car. It's an entirely different experience to do it in a big truck. And I think we were in a Peterbilt.
An 18-wheeler Peterbilt. I laid in the back and I took a little video of the cars going by and I tweeted out in an autonomous powered truck. A lot of people got worried, not because I didn't explain that there was a driver. So David, quickly, let's just do an introduction to everybody. We already told everyone you're the CEO of Plus, but a little introduction, a little background, and tell everyone about Plus because not everybody yet knows the name.
Sure. So I'm David Liu. I've been in the field of engineering for the last 30 years. I'm an engineer by training. I love engineering. I love taking technology and make it apply to real world, solving real world problems. And this company is called Plus. Part of our product that we can do today is we're able to utilize the AI technology to make driving a lot more sustainable. We save about 10% fuel using our technology. We make driving a lot safer for our drivers and make their job a lot easier. As you probably experienced this morning, once a truck is equipped with a Plus Drive technology, the driver essentially, transform themselves from a driver to a pilot, right? This is really the power of the technology to enable us today. And we're fortunate that we're in a time where technology has that power to really, apply value to an industry that's super, super important for our daily lives, right? A lot of goods, 70% of goods in the US are transported by trucks. And we're able to utilize the technology to make transportation industry much better.
Yeah, one of the things that I feel distinguishes the company from others in a macro point of view is that you're not doing PowerPoint slides, you're not, putting out vision videos. I mean, you may be, but you're actually powering trucks today on the highway. Is that right?
That's right. We look at our value at not just creating the best technology, but how do we utilize that technology to create value today, right? So we look at the things that we do in 4 S's, right? So starting with so it's safety, it's satisfaction, it's sustainability, and it's scalability, right? So what that means is we make trucks a lot safer. We make transportation a lot safer. We make drivers a lot more satisfactory. We make their job a lot easier. and we're much more sustainable compared to the technology that's available today. We make the fuel efficiency to be 10% better than average. And lastly, but not least importantly, we're doing it in a very, very scalable fashion. We're applying the technology today.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And, Pat, you kind of said it about PowerPoints. Like, this wasn't a company where we came in and you kind of told us a story. We got to go out on a ride. We got to see it. We watched the driver because it's still, driver in the loop, and see the impact and the intelligence. And we also obviously got to experience using multiple sensor technologies, which we're both big fans of. But I guess I do want to ask you, like, there are a lot of companies right now doing various stages of autonomy and ADAS. You're talking about these next waves. Kind of, how do you see the competitive landscape? Because I guess when I think about passenger, there's lots of players. When I think about trucks, and especially like you said, available today, there's not much out there.
That's right. So if you look at what's historically been happening, right? If in the autonomy space, you have some folks traditionally focused on ADAS. Those are safety-enabled features, very, very important. But that field has been, going on for a long time, and there needs to be some innovation on the technology side. And then you have some folks who work on, including us, work on truly bleeding-edge technology,
right,
like driverless, sort of trucking, right? So like autonomy, fully autonomous trucking. The technology is there in the sense that we can start to show some demos and pilots. We've actually in the past years have done some demonstration of driverless trucking in a very limited sense. But how do we utilize that technology to actually apply it to today's problem? How do we solve it at scale? So there is this new segment that's starting to forming, and people are paying a lot more attention to it, is what we call highly automated driving. It's really transformed a truck into more like airplane, like pilot situation, where the machine can do a lot of things, but while keeping the driver in the loop. So that market is fast growing. That's a market we're focusing on to providing a scalable product for the trucking problem we have today.
So you're saving lives, you're saving fuel, you're making employees happier at a time when it's really hard to get truckers. This seems like a no-brainer to me, particularly because you can retrofit these trucks, and that's what you're doing today. Why isn't this going a lot faster? Because I think back in the green room, you talked about a payback in terms of, was it 18 months?
Yes.
A year?
Yeah, 18 months.
18-month payback, and that just seems like something that is very provocative, and by the way, adding all of these benefits. Why isn't this going quicker?
Well, why isn't it going quicker? Mostly because any adoption of new technology takes time. Right? So if you look at some of the other comparable technology happening historically, for instance, automatic manual transmission, AMT technology, right? The technology has been available for a decade before it finally took off in 2013, right? But from the time it took off to the time, the penetration rate for AMT in 2013 is about 5%. By the time it took off to the time it gets 90%, over 90% penetration rate in new trucks, 5 years.
Right, and just for the viewers and listeners, AMT is basically automatic transmission.
Yeah. So, automatic transmission saves fuel. It's easier to drive. It solves all the problems. Why does it take that long? Because it takes a long time to educate the market. It probably also takes some time for the entire ecosystem, for our suppliers, our partners to also get ready to roll out their products in volume. So that will take a little bit of time. But the good news is we've already starting to blaze the market. Some of the leading fleets are already using our product. We're working with many of these leading fleets, including like Amazon. What they've been looking at is how do we apply this technology to our fleet today? So we're helping them to retrofit their existing fleet to make it working today. And then they're putting the requirement on to the rest of the ecosystem, to the rest of the supply chain, including some of the truck manufacturer, asking them about the feature. So we're also working with many OEMs in pre-installing our function, our technology onto their trucks to be rolled out.
That's cool. Yeah, you talk about Amazon, by the way. I mean, that deserves a little, just like a stop, pause, command. I mean, early in your existence, that kind of relationship can often be the difference maker of a much faster trajectory. And not, we all know the way e-commerce is going, that we're not going to be able to go a day in our lives without seeing an Amazon truck on the road. And so the ability to help them is also good for their ESG efforts and sustainability efforts and safety, all the things we talked about. 4S is brilliant. Love it. But I guess as we sort of, wrap up, you said something about partners. You mentioned Amazon's specific fleet, but what I see in being from the trucking era, my father was a trucker. I told you this in the backstage, in the business, is Plus needs to win at the level of the truck makers. So, the big ones, the Navistars and the Peterbilts, and then they need to win with the fleets, the rest of the fleets. Talk about your partnership strategy a little bit, how you are getting in. I know you may not be able to mention names, but, kind of how do you do that? Because this is a regulated industry. It takes time. There's a lot of compliances. You move to L4, there's even more compliance. Yeah. So how do you get tied in and make sure you're locked in for those design wins long term?
Right.
It's a long question.
So we start off with end users, right, with the fleets. And typically we look at the more forward-looking, more technology-savvy type of fleets. Amazon, they've been a leader in the space where they're looking for the best safety technology, looking for technology that makes their drivers the safest and the driving a lot easier for, so they've done a lot of work in that space. So it's not a surprise, we get the first adoption from customers like that globally, including on the US side. How do we see the market with market demand to prove out there is a product market fit? So we've done that in the past few years. And along with that, then we're going upstream to the truck manufacturers, because these are the guys who, building the technology into their trucks. This is how we can achieve scalability, right? So we work with all the major OEMs, truck OEMs out there. We have a partnership with Iveco. They're a large truck OEM in Europe. And we have announced a product roadmap rolling out our autonomy solution in Europe. And in the US, we're working with many other OEMs, whose name I can't announce yet, but to roll out this the similar product. Now, these efforts with OEM tend to take a longer time because it's a bigger requirement in terms of validation and in terms of scaling up the production. But we're envisioning the products be coming out in 2 years that they will be broadly released.
Yeah, the market uptake on automobiles, passenger cars with ADAS has been off the charts. People talk about auto sales going down, but even with all the supply chain challenges, ADAS equipped have been going up, and in stratospheric, partially because it's a smaller business with a high growth curve, but also because people want these solutions. So, what is the market opportunity that Plus has in the automated technology for trucks?
So what we see is in HAD market, the highly automated driving market for trucks. This market is going to grow in the next 10 years from $1 billion to about $30 billion over the next 10 years. And we hope to contribute a significant portion of that market growth opportunity.
That's great.
Yeah, so, I think we can kind of wrap it up on that, because that's a big highlight moment. But just for everyone out there, you're talking about a market that's going to grow about 30 times over the next several years. And Plus, along with Tesla, are two of the big names out in this space. And what you're building from a retrofit and being in market today to the future is you're probably the most proven product in existence in the market today. And that's something to be really proud of, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, David, appreciate you coming on the show, and we hope to chronicle every one of your big moves as we go into the future. And I know there's a lot more that you haven't told the public than you've told the public. And I'm really looking forward to that coming up. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, cheering you on. Really appreciate it. Everyone out there, check out the show notes below. We'll put some links where you can click, learn a little bit more about Plus. Probably have a few tweets that Pat and I put out there on our adventure. I will be honest, I am all about technology, but was a little nervous, always a little nervous around the big rigs, even though I grew up with them. But very exciting, some of the most important technology in our lives because it gets us all our stuff. So, David, thanks for joining the show. Pat, fun to be here in Santa Clara. By the way, we're on our way out. We'll see everybody later. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye now.